Hello, beautiful souls. It's Savi here with another IllumiNature Energy Reset. I can't believe it's time to do another one of these. I've been making videos each week since the middle of February, and time just is melting. Are you experiencing that? That's what I call the last 2+ years now. It just feels like a time melt entirely. Every day seems to be going faster and faster. One day just melts into the next. And I'm finding myself, as I have many times in my experience, finding myself wishing that time could just slow down. Can anyone else relate to that? Gosh, I just wish it could slow down. I'm sitting here on our porch. There are storms moving in, so I need to move this message along, whatever is going to come through this morning. And as I sat down and I turned everything on to begin recording, the first thing that popped in is time. Like I feel time pressed. And I think it's on purpose that this is where we're beginning today. What does it feel like to feel time pressed? We are all so attached to time, aren't we? We've developed a society and a culture and a rhythm, if we can call it that in life, that's completely attached to time. Where do we have to be at a certain time? How long are we going to be there? How many minutes do we have to talk about this that we're talking about right now? Everything seems to be orchestrated by time. And yet, time is a complete illusion. It's something that we all made up so that we could show up together at a certain space in time to be able to exchange or share something together. And nature has a completely different time, a completely different clock, as it were. Nature, when we just observe it like I am now, I sit here and it's honestly a little bit hard to focus on even what wants to come through, because there's a huge part of me that just wants to sit here like a small child in a candy store. I don't even like candy stores, but nature, sitting in nature and just being in complete awe of her magnificence. We're here about to witness the changing of the seasons again. It's almost time for summer solstice. For me to imagine that the spring season is finding its way to the end of its cycle and we're beginning a new cycle moving into the summer season seems incomprehensible to me. How did that many days pass? How did that much time pass? And yet I look around me and I see the wonder and the magnificence of what has happened in these last several months as spring is giving way to summer. And the light in the days is growing longer. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, in the Midwest where I live, it's light out until 9 p.m. right now. The days are so much longer, and we find so much more to fill our days with. So it's just interesting. I'm sitting here and I'm just observing time and the absence of it. And what a funny illusion it is that we've all talked ourselves into believing and showing up for so that we can meet each other when and where we need to. And just giving myself now in this moment, and by way of this message, giving you an opportunity to pause, to just really pause and relate with whatever is surrounding you right now, preferably some nature. Enjoy the nature that surrounds me here at the sanctuary while we're talking together. And when you're done watching the video, or even while you're watching the video, find a window. If it's not okay for you to be outside, find a window that you can at least find the sky, find a tree, find some grass, find a weed growing through the cracks in the sidewalk. Find something that connects you with nature and helps you remember that not everything is about time as we subscribe to it with a clock. And now it's becoming obvious to me that one of the reasons that this is coming up is this is one of the best ways that we can give ourselves self-care. is to start recognizing how attached we are to time and how we can allow ourselves to elevate out of the constructs of time as we've created it more in our lives. We really are alchemists. We can expand time when we want to. And here's the way that you can prove that to yourself. Have you ever had an experience where you are doing something that you love so much and you are so immersed in it that time just completely evaporates, that you finish whatever the experience is and you look at the time on the clock and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much time just went past. Maybe it's having a conversation with a longtime friend that you haven't talked with in a long while. I recently had that experience. I love those experiences when time just disappears because you are so immersed in the moment and you're so engaged in presence that there's nothing in the experience that is at all attached to time. Maybe it has been when you are engaged in one of your favorite hobbies. Maybe an art or a craft or music. Music is like that for me. I'll sit down to practice some of my music and I think, okay, time. I've got 20 minutes, I've got a half hour. I'm going to give myself some time to practice my music. And as I begin to practice, time melts away. I couldn't care less what time it is, even though it's maybe time to get dinner going for the evening or time to move on to another task that I had hoped to complete. But when I give way to the music, when I allow myself really to immerse and engage in that experience, time evaporates. And that's a beautiful thing to allow ourselves to experience. Now, I know if we have schedules that we have to keep, appointments that we have to show up for, I know we do have to be responsible in our adulting and take care of those responsibilities that we have. What I'm inviting here isn't to throw all of that away, although that's what Source would invite many times. I'm inviting us to just notice when and where we can become less attached to time in the way of our commitment to ourselves for self-care and self-love. What we really find is when we allow ourselves the experience of expanding time, allowing ourselves time to drop into something that we really, really love, we tap into the presence part of us that is so limitless. We tap into limitlessness. We tap into the expanse. We tap into the great mystery that is really so alive within each and every one of us. And when we do that, we become more connected with the essence of who and what we really are. And that is the key towards self-care and self-love. So many times, there's that word, so many times we think I have to schedule self-care. I need to put myself on the schedule. I'm going to schedule a massage. That's great, do that. I'm going to schedule a bath. I'm going to schedule some time where the kids are taken care of and I can just have some moments completely to myself, to take a walk through the forest. It's good to schedule those times, yes. And in addition to that, I really invite us to reframe where our consciousness sits around time. This is something that has been, it's been a challenge and a trigger point for me my entire life. I've been way too time attached, even though I know in every fiber of my being that time is an illusion. I know that we made it up to exist here in this human experience. And I know the benefits of releasing from the attachment to time. And I know the benefits for my soul, for my heart, for my overall well-being when I allow myself to truly be detached from time and just be in the experience that I'm having, whatever that is. Sitting here right now, talking with you. You know as well as I do that these messages, I sit down and I think, oh, let's do these messages for about 10 minutes. I haven't done a 10-minute message yet. I'm going to just check, look, I'm at 10 minutes right now. So I should say see ya, but I can't say see ya because it's not done. The energy isn't done flowing. And I never even look at that time marker. Right now, as I'm talking about that, I'm like, hey, I bet there's a time marker. And I look and we're at a little more than 10 minutes right now. So isn't that interesting? It's so interesting because I'm sitting here sharing with you as if you are all sitting right here with me. I feel you. I feel your energy. I feel your spirits. I feel the essence that is co-creating our conversation together right now. And I couldn't honestly care less about how much time is passing. I hope that when you're listening, you're able to do the same. But I'm not attached to that either. That's the beauty of it. So really, today's message, it seems to be bubbling up that this is an invitation toward greater self-care and greater self-love, and to recognizing that one of the key ways that we can bring ourselves to greater awareness around our self-care and our self-love is to really take a deep dive look at how we view time and the stories that we've told ourselves about time, and how we attach ourselves to those narratives, to those stories, and where there might be something within those narratives that we're ready and willing to let go of, to release, and to allow space for a new pattern to rise up, one where we feel expanded in time, out of time, out of time. Switch that up, where we feel expanded out of time. Not out of time like time is running out, but there's no such thing as time. We just feel expanded. We feel limitless. We feel far-reaching in our ability, in our capacity toward our creative force, and allowing that to flow. That's where the deliciousness of life really comes in. That's where the juice comes in. That's where our passions and our purpose get synced up together so that we can really engage in our creative flow. And when we are engaged in that creative force, the creative flow within us, that can only happen when we are connected with who and what we really are. When we're connected with our divine essence, we're connected with our IllumiNature, the infinite presence aspect of who and what we are beyond time, beyond space, beyond form. That space is when life gets really delicious. And that's what this invitation is about. If we want to talk about self-care and self-love, we have to begin here. We have to begin with, what is it that I'm nurturing anyway? Am I just nurturing myself day by day to get by, to get to the end of the day so that I can sleep and have enough energy to wake up and do the next day? I think it's about more than that. I think it's about so much more than that. And I think that we all deserve that care and that attention. We deserve to be able to know ourselves beyond the day-to-day, beyond the identity that seems to have shaped itself around us by way of our experiences. We need to remember that we are more than that, that we are not, our identity is not what has shaped us by way of our experiences. And we have to put limitlessness back into the equation to remember that we are here to express beyond our wildest dreams and imagination, and that the essence of who and what we really are is such a loving, nurturing, guiding, informing energy within us. So many times, and I've talked about this in almost every message that has come through, what our tendency is as human beings to externalize almost everything. We're always looking outside of ourselves to help inform what we think and how we feel. And in the true essence of self-care and self-love, that is misplaced direction of energy. It's fine for us to look and observe and see what is happening outside of ourselves, but only when we take that information in, to put it into the equation by way of our presence within, by way of the inner witness, by way of the inner observer. by way of who and what we really are. We don't need externalized information to inform anything within us. It's interesting. It's interesting to observe. But what's most important is remembering how to inquire within ourselves, how to allow the creative force within us, the presence within us that is infinite beyond this time-space reality. We're just here in these vehicles of expression for a limited time to experience life, being human, to experience what it is to see the beauty that surrounds us, to experience what it is to connect and interrelate with each other. Yes, that's what this human experience is about, by way of the presence that exists within us, presence that is infinite, eternal, everlasting, and expresses through the uniqueness of this. However, we each choose to express the naturalness that is us from within. So in the few minutes that we've been talking together, I've noticed an energy shift within myself. I sat down feeling time pressed, and right now I feel like I could care less what time it is. And nature is cooperating with me. There is a cooperation that happens when we are synced up with our truest alignment and we're acting in our inner authority and really from our authenticity. Everything melts and syncs and synergizes to meet us exactly where we are. So if Mama Nature is planning on some rain coming in, and she is cooperating with this experience right now. She is allowing us to have this conversation, and she's waiting. And I'm looking off in this direction because this is where I can see the rains are moving in, but we've had time to be able to sit and think about these delicious concepts and themes and ideas and energies together. And I'm just so grateful to have the opportunity to drop in this way and to be able to witness and recognize shifts in my own energy as this happens. I hope that as you listen, you can observe and witness your own shifts, that you can feel the subtleties of the shifts changing, that you can feel your emotional barometer shifting and changing, that you can know what it is that you're feeling and that you can embrace it no matter what it is and acknowledge it and give yourself the space, give yourself the time outside of time to be able to have these experiences of depth that emerge and bubble up from within. Sit with yourselves. Sit with nature. Nature is the best way to help us really feel connected. There's nothing disconnected in nature. Every single aspect and element of nature is interconnected and interwoven with the next. There are no kinks or hiccups or blips in the way that it is all connected. As I'm looking out this way right now, I'm seeing the cutest catbird who just came in and took a bird bath. And he's sitting on the rock, fluffing his feathers. They're so cute. And I love how I can sit out here and talk with all of you, and they're just going about their business. Because they feel safe, because they feel connected, because I feel safe and I feel connected. And I am aware that we're all interconnected. So the energy is harmonizing, it's synced, it's beautiful. And we've shared this experience together. I could go on, I could always go on. And I know that there will come another time very soon where we can sit down and share together. And for today, this is perfect, that this is what came through. The invitation for you to look at time, to look at how you view time, to look at the stories and the narratives around it, and to say, I think that it is time for me to release some of these strongholds that I have on time. I want to experience what Savi's talking about. Wait, I have experienced what Savi's talking about, and I want to experience more of that. I'm going to bring my focused awareness and my attention to expanding outside of time, to allowing limitlessness, and to recognize that as I allow that, I am nurturing myself. I am allowing more self-care. I am allowing more self-love. Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful. Thank you for sitting here with me, for listening to the birds singing in the background, for seeing the beauty that surrounds us here at the sanctuary, and for just allowing yourself these moments to reflect, to inquire, to love yourselves. It's so important. It's critically important. It is the key. And as I close today, it would be goofy for me not to mention how powerful focusing on self-love is. It is literally the key to our transformation on this planet right now. It's the key to elevating and enlivening our human spirit once more. And to help support us all in this, I've created a little mini course. It's self-guided, and it's meant to be engaged in over and over again. It's not something that you do once and then forget about. The yogis of the ages have taught us that a practice is really just life. It's focusing on the things that help us to grow ourselves, to evolve, to know how to remember the love that exists and resides within us. It's not something that we have to go find externally. It is literally what we are sourced of. So this little mini course has many guided practices within it. There are journal prompts and attunement statements, recordings to follow along with, wisdom teachings. It's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to help support yourself on this journey of self-love. And you can find that at lovingawareness.org. Thank you so much for sitting with me, for suspending time, and for allowing these messages to flow through, and for allowing the space for love. May we experience so much more space for love. It is ours to allow. And that love is generating, pulsing from within us all, every single moment of every single day. Breathe into that, dear ones. And I'll see you again soon. I love you.